All I wanted was peace. A window seat, 14A. 30 seconds and a hand came flying straight at my face. "You coward! What gives you the right to sit here?" She collapsed, screaming like I'd hit her. I hadn't even touched her. The cabin froze. Passengers stared. Flight attendants rushed in. I hadn't even fastened my seatbelt, and somehow I was the villain. So what really happened in seat 14A, keep watching. It gets worse. Before I could process what just happened, her sister stepped in. Patrick Harlow, taller, sharper, and twice as theatrical. She dropped to her knees beside Victoria, sobbing like they rehearsed it. "She has a heart condition," she shrieked, shaking a bottle of random pills for effect. People started gathering. A man across the aisle filmed, probably thinking he'd caught a scandal. Patrick turned to the crowd, voice breaking with performance-level grief. He struck my sister unprovoked. "This man is dangerous." I opened my mouth to defend myself, but Patrick raised a hand. "Don't come closer," she snapped. "He's violent." No one said a word. No one stepped in. And just like that, I was no longer a passenger. I was the villain in a show I didn't audition for. 2 airport security officers appeared like summoned demons. No questions, no hesitation. One of them grabbed my backpack off the overhead bin, tossed it to the floor like trash. The other shoved me back into my seat, voice cold as steel. "You're being accused of physical assault," he said. "You'd better stay quiet, sir, unless you want to be banned from flying." Permanently. My heart pounded, my voice buried under disbelief. Patrick was now holding Victoria's hand, sobbing like a martyr. "She needs oxygen," she gasped. He almost killed her. A flight attendant hovered nearby, clearly confused but afraid to intervene, and the rest of the cabin. Watching, whispering, judging. I wasn't in a plane anymore. I was in a courtroom at 30,000 feet, and the jury had already picked a side. Victoria, still on the floor, suddenly lifted her phone. Front-facing camera. TikTok live. "He hit me," she sobbed, smearing non-existent tears across her cheek. "This man assaulted me in front of everyone, and the airline is doing nothing." Patrick chimed in, face grave and trembling. "There were children here." He screamed at my sister. He tried to grab me. Spoiler, there were no children. No screaming, no grabbing. Just fiction streamed live. Within minutes, I saw the comments pouring in, "Lock him up. Disgusting predator. This is why women don't feel safe." People in the cabin started pulling out their phones. But not to help, to film me. Like I was some kind of monster worth going viral. I turned to the window. All I wanted was a view of the clouds. Instead, I got a trial by internet. My hands were shaking, but I knew what I had to do. I opened the front camera, hit record, positioned it low-angled just right. Patrick's foot bumped my seat again. Victoria, still moaning on the floor, leaned into the drama like an award-winning actress. "She's faking," I whispered into the mic. "This entire thing is staged." I tilted the phone slightly. Captured the oversized fake designer bags, the unbothered glances they threw when they thought no one was watching, the way Patrick subtly nudged Victoria when she stopped crying. I ended the recording, named the file Karen Flight from Hell, uploaded it straight to TikTok, no caption, no filter. I sat back in silence. My seatbelt was still off, but for the first time I wasn't defenseless. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Once, then again, then like a machine gun. Notifications lit up the screen. Comments, likes, shares. Someone had stitched the video. Another slowed it down, added captions, caught red-handed Karen's Oscar performance. It hit a nerve. People were angry, and not at me. They zoomed in on the fake tears. The smug smirk Patrick gave when she thought no one was looking. The way Victoria suddenly checked her phone mid-sob. 100K views. Then 300K. I sat frozen, watching the numbers rise. But deep down I didn't feel safe yet, because viral fame doesn't equal justice. And Patrick Harlow? She wasn't finished. Patrick's eyes darted to her phone. She froze. Then she saw my video, the one already racing through the internet. Her jaw clenched. The mask slipped. "You little snake," she hissed low and venomous. She lunged across the aisle trying to grab my phone. Passengers gasped. A flight attendant stepped in, voice trembling. "Ma'am, please return to your seat." Patrick pointed straight at me, voice shrieking. "He's filming us. That's harassment. He's violating our privacy." The irony was so thick I nearly choked. But no one laughed. I clutched my phone tighter. This wasn't about a seat anymore. It was war, and Patrick Harlow had just declared it with the whole plane watching. The plane turned into a courtroom, only there was no judge, just 100 silent jurors with smartphones. To my left, a woman muttered, "That's him." 2 rows back, a man whispered to his wife, "He looks unhinged." A teenage boy aimed his phone at me. No shame. Another passenger filmed from behind the seat. I could feel the shift. No one was defending me. Some nodded at Patrick like they knew her. She saw it too, smirked. Louder now. "He's dangerous. Don't let him near my sister again." Every word was another nail in my social coffin. And the worst part, some people believed her. Some didn't. But all of them chose to do nothing. I wasn't just fighting Karen anymore. I was fighting the crowd. My phone vibrated again, then non-stop. 500,000 views, 900,000. Trending. Comment after comment lit up the screen. "This is Karen, behavior on steroids. Finally, someone's exposing them in real time." I've seen this woman before. She did this at JFK last year, stitches. Duets. Reaction videos. People were digging up old clips of Patrick and Victoria wreaking havoc at other airports. A new narrative was forming outside this plane. One I had control over. My name wasn't just the guy in seat 14A anymore. Now I was the man who filmed the flight from hell, and for the first time. Karen wasn't the only one going viral, but I knew something else too. Going viral makes you powerful and puts a target on your back. The head flight attendant leaned toward me, whispering just loud enough, "We've seen the video." Her eyes scanned the cabin. Then she nodded subtle, but everything changed. Suddenly, the passive faces weren't so passive. One crew member stood closer to Patrick. Another began discreetly filming from the galley. Patrick noticed the shift. Her face tightened. "This is harassment," she snapped. "He's trying to make us look bad. He's dangerous." But the panic was setting in. Victoria, still fake crying, peeked up through one eye. Busted. Then a voice from the intercom, "Cabin crew, please report to cockpit immediately." Patrick froze. The smirk vanished. She knew. The pilots knew. And somewhere out there, someone had finally hit record on the truth. The wheels touched down. The cabin exhaled. But the real landing was just beginning. Victoria sat up straight, like nothing had happened. Patrick reapplied her lipstick, like they were ready for a press conference. A voice came over the intercom. "Passengers in row 14, please remain seated. Security will escort you." They stood immediately, fake concerned. Patrick waved to the aisle. "She's the victim. Please take her first." But when the plane door opened, 2 security officers stepped in and walked right past them. "Mr. Matthews," I raised my hand. "We'd like a word. Privately." Patrick blinked. "What about us? You're not going to talk to us." The officers didn't even look at her. They just said, "Stay seated," and walked me off the plane. By the time I stepped into the terminal, my face was on every screen. News alerts, Twitter threads, reaction videos. Passenger exposes in-flight manipulators. Flight 14A. Viral or violent? A woman from airport security handed me a burner phone. "This came for you." The screen lit up. No number, no name, just a text. They've done this before. JFK, LAX, Heathrow. Different names, same sisters. I stared at it, heart racing. Attached was a Dropbox link. I tapped. Inside, dozens of files. Unblurred screenshots, wire transfers, shell companies. Victoria and Patrick weren't just viral monsters. They were tools. And someone bigger was pulling the strings. The flight was over. But the real turbulence had just begun. I left the terminal through the side exit, trying to avoid cameras. No press, no crowd, just silence. Then I heard it. Footsteps. Fast. Precise. 3 men. Black hoodies. Gloves. One pulled a baton. No words. Just action. I turned, instinct kicked in, dodged. The first swing took a punch to the ribs. My vision blurred. They weren't muggers, they were professionals. I fell to the ground. A knee slammed into my chest. Someone whispered, "You should have stayed quiet." Before the second hit landed, a siren wailed in the distance. They vanished. I lay on the concrete, coughing, blood, heart pounding. This wasn't internet backlash. This was real, and someone had just sent me a message. Next time, there won't be sirens. Dave called as I left the ER, his voice calm, too calm. "Crazy stuff, man. You okay?" He was the one who helped me upload the video, boosted it, made it trend. But now... He sounded detached, clinical. "You should lay low," he said. "Maybe delete some tweets. Don't poke the bear. Poke the bear I just got jumped in broad daylight. I've got a few PR people who can spin it," he added. "Keep the focus on the drama, not the details." That's when it clicked. Dave wasn't trying to help me. He was trying to control the narrative. Control me. I hung up without a word. Looked down at the burner phone still buzzing. If Dave was part of this, I wasn't just dealing with Karen anymore. I was dealing with something far bigger. Victoria resurfaced. Not in handcuffs, not in shame. On live television. Tears cued, voice trembling. "My sister and I have been brutally harassed both online and on that flight." The anchor nodded sympathetically. No questions, no pushback. A montage rolled old footage edited to paint her as a misunderstood passenger. Clips of me paused at unflattering angles. Comments exploded. Maybe he doctored the video. Clout chaser. Why film instead of helping? The tide was shifting. Again. Dave posted nothing, said nothing, and just like that I was losing control of my own story. But this wasn't just bad PR. This was engineered. They weren't cleaning up a mess. They were rewriting the script. I wasn't going to fight this in public anymore. It was time to go underground. I wasn't going to sit and watch them twist the truth anymore. If no one else was coming for them, I would. I posed as an overseas investor, used a fake name, a burner email, a suit I hadn't worn since graduation. I signed up for a private Zoom tour hosted by a real estate firm connected to Patrick Harlow. Luxury condos in Belize. Eco-villages in Montenegro. Photos too perfect. Testimonials too scripted. I asked one question about legal zoning. The host glitched. Changed the subject. A screen shared suddenly popped up. Behind the spreadsheet of returns was a folder. Holdings, P. Harlow, INTL. Then, a tiny camera window in the corner shifted. Another guest had just joined. Gray hoodie, ball cap pulled low. It was Dave. And he wasn't pretending to be anyone else. I spent the next 48 hours digging. No sleep. Just screens. Code. Paper trails they thought were erased. That folder, Holdings P. Harlow INTL, wasn't just a vanity file. It was a web of shell companies all tied to fake real estate ventures across 5 continents. Same pattern every time: inflated investor packages. Bogus environmental projects. Accounts opened in Panama funneled through Singapore, washed clean in Zurich. Then came the product line's skincare supplements, quantum detox devices. The same branding Patrick promoted on her YouTube channel. But the most disturbing file wasn't a spreadsheet. It was a signed memo. A document referencing payout splits between regional operators marketing Karen incidents as viral misdirection tactics. And then I saw it. Buried in a footer. Authorized by D. Feldman. Dave. Full name, no aliases. He wasn't just a player. He was the architect. I checked into the hospital for a concussion scan. The waiting room smelled like antiseptic and denial. Then Dave walked in. No disguise, no guilt, Just a coffee cup and that same disarming grin. "Rough week," he said, sitting beside me. "No invitation, no shame. You did good, Leo. Real good." He sipped. Calm, like we were teammates. "I warned you not to dig, but you kept digging." He reached into his coat slowly. I flinched. But it was just a phone. He turned the screen to me, my sister's photo, her address, my niece's school schedule. His voice dropped to a whisper. This is a warning. Next time you won't be the only one bleeding." I froze. He stood, straightened his collar. "Oh, and one more thing," he added, smiling. "Seat 14A. You were never supposed to be on that flight." Then he vanished into the hallway, like nothing ever happened. I left the hospital through the side exit. Jacket zipped. Cap low. Heart racing. Every step felt like trespassing through my own life. My credit card pinged before I even used it. My hotel reservation was suddenly flagged for review. I switched SIM cards. New burner. Still eyes followed. A man in a cafe stared too long. A woman in uniform paced beside a black SUV, then whispered into her sleeve. I ducked into an alley. 10 seconds later, sirens. They weren't after someone. They were after me. I jumped a fence, cut through traffic, fell, rolled, kept running, made it to a storage unit I hadn't touched in years. Inside darkness. Safety. For now. The burner phone buzzed. A new message. "You run well, Leo. We like watching you sweat." I crushed the phone. But paranoia had already moved in. Back inside the storage unit, I connected my emergency laptop. No Wi-Fi. Ethernet only. An encrypted email slipped through the firewall. No name, no subject, just, "We don't all work for them." Attached was a voice memo. Patrick's voice, clear cruel. "She sits in 14A. We provoke. He reacts. We escalate. Cameras do the rest." Laughter followed. Then the part that burned my lungs. Legault cleared the insurance angle. Worst case it trends. The sender signed only D ground control. Another file loaded flight logs, seating charts, surveillance footage. One line flashed red, seat swap 11B. 14A, time-stamped. Deliberate. I hadn't booked 14A. I had been placed there. At the bottom, a final attachment project, kharlow.mp3. The conspiracy had a name. Now it had a voice. Truth wasn't enough anymore. It had to be undeniable. Public. Broadcasted before they could shut it down. The Global Aviation Summit. 3 days away. Las Vegas. Live across 41 countries. I forged a pass. Built a laptop, wired with failsafe's 4G uplink. Offline cache. Mirror servers. If I got cut off midstream, the feed would survive me. I assembled a 90-second edit, the voice memo, the seat swap logs, Patrick's laugh, my near-death chase, no voiceover, just impact. Then I saw the speakers list. Third name, bolded, keynote speaker, Dave Feldman, CEO, Sky. Next, Global Ventures Perfect. This wasn't just justice anymore, it was confrontation, face-to-face. He said I was never meant to sit in 14A. Now he'd watch me stand on stage. The ballroom pulsed with artificial light and corporate lies, glass towers, glowing banners, and applause on cue. Dave stood under a spotlight, arms outstretched. "Welcome to the future of aviation transparency." I stepped through the side door, wearing the same clothes I'd been hunted in, eyes locked forward. The security guard didn't stop me. The moment was too precise, too live. Patrick sat front row, jaw-dropping mid-sip of champagne. Dave faltered, blinking into the cameras. "I'm sorry," I said, climbing the side stairs. "I have something to add." Murmurs rippled. Phones lifted. Live stream initiated. Connection strong. Backup activated. I turned to the crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Project K. Harlow and the billion-dollar lie you've all been flying with." And before anyone could stop me, the truth went live. The lights dimmed not by tech crew, but by tension. My screen lit up behind me. First, the voice memo. She sits in 14A. We provoke. He reacts. We escalate. Patrick's voice, crystal clear. Gasps echoed across the hall. Then the flight log overlays, edited manifests, camera stills showing Victoria laughing between sobs. I scrolled slowly. No narration. Let the truth speak. The memo appeared last approved D. Feldman, Dave's signature bold and smug. Dave stepped forward, face pale mouth open. Cut the feed, he barked, but the stream was decentralized, already mirrored, already downloaded. A journalist stood up, camera rolling. "Mr. Feldman, is this real?" Patrick shouted, lunging toward me. Security held her back. Then an alarm blared overhead. Red lights, footsteps. They were too late. The world had already seen everything. The alarm crescendoed into chaos. Double doors burst open, FBI jackets, Interpol badges, tactical boots hitting marble like war drums. Gasps turned into screams. Phones caught every second. "Step away from the podium," one agent barked. But I stayed still, because they weren't here for me. Two agents tackled Patrick mid-charge, shoving her into the carpet. She shrieked, no audience applause this time. Dave raised his hands, trying to smirk through the panic, but the cuffs clicked loud enough to silence the room. A female agent held up a warrant. "David Feldman. Patrick Harlow. You are under arrest for fraud, racketeering, conspiracy, and obstruction." A third name was called. Victoria Harlow, dragged out crying. No makeup, no filter. And behind them a line of other executives followed, a network collapsing. And I just stood there watching the tower burn. The live stream went global. Within hours, it was the #1 trending video in 38 countries. Karen, conspiracy exposed. Corporate predators caught on camera. Flight 14A, the man who fought back. And then voices, real ones, from everywhere. A single mom from Seattle. She tried this on me in 2019. I thought I was alone. A flight attendant from Berlin. We were told to look away. A disabled veteran. She ruined my life. Thank you for standing up. I watched it unfold, not from a podium, but from the quiet of a hotel room, curtains drawn. I wasn't giving interviews, no press, no book deal, but the messages kept pouring in. Hundreds, thousands. Some said hero, some said martyr. I didn't reply. I just sat there and let the world speak for me. The offers came fast. Streaming giants, book publishers, documentary crews with polished smiles and contracts longer than manifestos. "You're a hero," they said. "Let's turn this into something big." Big was never the goal. They offered 6 figures for rights. 7 if I do interviews. 8 if I let them dramatize Victoria into a cartoon villain. But this wasn't entertainment. It was my life, my trauma. I deleted 36 emails. Politely declined 2 major networks. Let the book agents leave voicemails I never returned. Because the moment I sold it, it would stop being truth and start being property. Then my phone rang again. A Hollywood area code. Producer. Friendly voice. "Leo, this story could change everything." I listened. Paused. Then hung up. Some victories aren't for sale. 6 months later, the ripple had become a wave. Airlines worldwide overhauled their passenger dispute policies. Mandatory de-escalation training. Third-party ombudsman seats on every major route. Aviation regulators passed the Matthews Protocol, outlining rights to digital privacy passenger recordings and penalties for false public accusations in flight. The United Nations Human Rights Council cited the case in a motion condemning viral manipulation and coercive staging in media warfare. I never signed a petition, never attended a hearing. But my name was on every document, every policy, every footnote marked C Incident Flight 14A. And while I never asked for it, My story had become a blueprint of what happens when one passenger refuses to be silenced. But for every system changed, every safeguard built, I still triple-check the name on my boarding pass. Seat 14A, again. Same side, same view. Clouds drifting past like they owed me an apology. The flight was quiet. No shouting, no perfume bombs, no staged chaos. The attendant smiled as she passed. I smiled back mechanically. I rested my head against the window. The cool glass met the faint ridge above my brow, a scar still pink from that parking lot ambush. A child giggled somewhere behind me. Normal. Safe. And yet my hands clenched the armrest during takeoff. My eyes scanned every passenger twice. The world had changed. Laws had changed. But I hadn't. Not really. Because once you've been hunted on a flight, you never fly the same again. Then my phone vibrated. No caller ID, just a message. "You think it's over?" The message sat on my screen. Blinking. Mocking. "You think it's over?" I opened it. No number, just words. "You exposed a limb, but the body remains, and unlike you, we never sleep." Attached was a photo. Me this morning, coffee in hand, looking over my shoulder at nothing. Except now I knew something had been there. I stared out the airplane window. Below, cities passed like secrets buried in cloud cover. The noise-canceling headphones around my neck suddenly felt like a cruel joke. This wasn't peace. It was a pause. Not an ending, but an intermission. And I finally understood truth doesn't kill monsters. It just teaches them to hide better. My name cleared the headlines, but I was still in their system, and they were still watching. I never asked to become a symbol. I just didn't want to be silent. This story, however dramatic, isn't just mine. It's for anyone who's ever been cornered, manipulated, or shamed into backing down. Stand your ground, not with rage, but with reason. Don't accept bullying as just the way things are, and never mistake someone's volume for their right to be louder than your truth. Social media, when used wisely, can be more than noise. It can be a mirror. It can be justice. Your voice might feel small, but it might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to rise. And remember, every action, every lie, every camera, every silence has consequences. Thank you for listening. If this story meant something to you, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear it too. See you next time. And until then, stay strong.